It already says I'm dropping frames. I haven't even done anything yet, man. How am I dropping frames when there are no frames? It's a still image. God, I need a better fucking... I don't know what it is. I don't know what the issue is. I tried looking into it yesterday. Couldn't figure out what the fuck it was. But something's fucked up, and I don't know what's fucked up. But there's a something fucked up. We'll figure out what that is eventually. I just got another notification. Oh my fucking god. Hold on. I'll see if there's like a thing I can figure out. It's like none of this looks fucking changed. I don't know why it's suddenly dropping for... Whatever. We're gonna power through. I'm too fucking frustrated with that shit to care. I can't, like, I don't know what to fix, because it doesn't feel like there's anything to fix. It's just being an asshole. I have not changed settings that I'm aware of, but who knows, maybe I'm just a dumbass. Regardless, hello, we're here. We're gonna play the game. Is this gonna be a short stream? Probably, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna stream. That is the plan. And then next week, I'm not going to have too many streams, like around 3 to 4, simply because I need to do shit to make my streaming experience better. That includes fixing the dropped frames. So, that's going to be my plan. That's what I'm doing. And I'm also taking a bit of a mental break, because this shit gets frustrating. Specifically, like the fucking every program not wanting to work with me. So, that's my shit. Let's play the video game that games. Why is it not showing up? Why it's no show? Oh, because it's set to specific. There we go. Alright, let's get this going. I am going to do this so that I can maybe save some frames. Alright, we're getting something going. That's what matters. We're getting the something going. And it's already dropping frames still. God. Let's get started with the video game. Woohoo! Yeah! 24th of October, 11:53 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Wait, we're in the... Wait, are we not actually investigating right now? No, that's the wrong button. God damn it. Hold on. What's the menu button? I should have expected it to be that. It says... Oh, I thought this was investigation. It's not. Oopsies daisies. Okay, let me look at the history. We're gonna continue. Ah, a knight-errant himself. Oh, you've been watching from the gallery, Mr. Jones? That's fucking new. You dick. I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs, as a spectator at least. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself, you fucking dick. Oh. Hey, man. I have to ask. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's this professor business all about? He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before. Who even is he? Ah, of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. Yes, the professor. The fucking professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stood within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heartfelt sympathies. As it turns out, Lord Van Zeiks is even more intimately tied to the case than any of us realized, isn't he? Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock. And now, a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I ran out of breath, that's why I did that weird gap. Not gop, gap. I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. You make it sound deliberate. I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling. I need a drink of water already. That's a good start. Oh, yes? In what particular manner? Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Scythe, and Lord Van Zeiks. Seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. Yes, in fact, I alone am not a member of the set. Though that leaves me as an empty seat, all alone with no intersection to any other. Excuse me, is this... excuse me, sorry. Dr. Scythe! Ah, Dr. Courtney Scythe. How the fuck did I fuck up? Nay, Stevens! Good day to you. Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. What in particular, pray? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you? Why would you assume such a thing that's correct? Because Gregson told me. Ah, that would do it, wouldn't it? To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel. I smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant. A policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you, as it happens, Dr. Scythe. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. Because the truth doesn't exist, fuck you. Oh shit. I don't know why. I read Lord Van Zeiks and I was gonna go into the voice like it fucking summoned him. Lord Van Zeiks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Strongheart.
Sorry, I just really wanted this case to be as difficult for you as possible. Fuck you, have fun.
Lord Strongheart? The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice! Damn, she bringing out the big words. I've always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. Damn. That helped us nothing. She mentioned it too. This Pandora's box. Whatever does it all mean? Means you better get your shit fucked. There's really no cause for concern, I assure you. When the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent, whether you'd like it or not. Huh? Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits. I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much because, you know, this is someone's life. Ah, yes, one word of warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. You're scaring me. All right, I understand. Thank you. I'm terrified, though. Good. I shall make myself scarce, then. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier. Bro. Okay. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier. So I shall be gnawing on that as you gnaw away at the truth. Oh, I'm so funny as I fade away from the ether. What did that warning from Mr. Sholmes really mean, I wonder? But we're gonna fucking find out. Especially the bit about whatever comes to pass. I also just slipped into the fucking Sholmes voice. I hate myself. Da, 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 da. It's time for the final chapter then. I'm determined to find the truth, no matter what. Pop, 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 pop. 24th of October, 12:40 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. I thought, wow, okay. Yep. Oh, I forgot the bird guy was here, and I'm not calling him anything else, even though I know what he is, but fuck you.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue?
The prosecution is ready, my lord. I was not expecting to do this voice the entire day, and here we are. Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready.
As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with the damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. Yet we now find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. This trial has certainly defied all expectation.
As seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord.
So then, let us begin with our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally, I had a stroke, involved in this matter. Lord Van Zeiks? Zeiks!
My lord?
Are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tuspel?
Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak and ready to be summoned.
Very well. Bring the witness.
At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tuspel to the stand. Damn, we're already bringing out this music. Things are about to become a lot more intense. If Drebber is responsible, and I'm sure he is, it means he must have had an accomplice in Dr. Scythe. And what connects the pair of them is the waxwork. Yes, the model of the professor. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present, it's all we have to go on.
So much to go on.
Oh, she's making one for Sholmes! State your name and occupation for the court, please. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tuspel. I am a waxwork artisan. And the properties of the Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork. Proprietress. Oopsies. You will have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. She's making one of fucking Sholmes. My fucking, I had to mute so I could sneeze, and then I read the line and I was muted still. Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are two of him in the world. Great. Oh my. What expression is she carving onto his face? Give me the thing. The thing. A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped.
A waxwork model? Kidnapped?
Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I've just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim? At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Assman. But of course, I know him well. He is part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say what is evident, but Mr. Assman does not resemble the professor at all. Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar. Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? I have here the key, but it is strictly forbidden to open the lock. This is absurd! Pardon? I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath that mask, but clearly it won't be that of the actual killer. Oh, that was a... Doth mine ears detect a little bit of an outburst from the one angry man in the courtroom? Ooh.
Indeed. The man's identity was never made public, after all.
The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There is no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information. That's what you think, bitch. Quel dommage. I think that's how you say that. It would seem you are unaware of the Tuspel's principles. What principles? The family Tuspels have always prided itself on sculpting its models a la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voila, our principles. There is a well-known legend about the Tuspel's waxworks from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Tuspel's family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Oui, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually, at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Tuspels will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects.
Dear me. Somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose.
It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secrets for generations. Do you mean to say that beneath that mask? Oui, the true visage of the killer is there. This is ludicrous. It's out of the question! The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tuspel special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer emerging from his own grave. It is a sight to behold. You should come. Ooh, she's menacing. I like her a lot.
I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. It would also be very beneficial to see the man's face. I want to see it. Me wants to see. You will detail every How the fuck did I do that? You will explain every detail of this macabre model. I don't fucking care anymore. And your personal involvement in its creation.
With pleasure. Okay. Here we go. Witness testimony. The professor's waxwork. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse, in accordance with Tuspel's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold of the head of created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. The signal was the camera flash. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered.
The gravedigger! The man sanctioned this!
Oui, I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance of my family. Shit. I had to reread that in my head, like, did I fuck that up? I did fuck that up. I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do, huh? So you truly saw it. The face of that monster! Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret. But Tuspells would not be Tuspells if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures. I don't believe this.
I myself have seen this special exhibit at your museum, madam. Truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave.
The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from that time that I carried on me. Just because I wanted it. Oh, shit. Oh, right, because photos weren't a thing. Assman, signature. Didn't know that Assman was an artiste. The special exhibit was based upon the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitnesses who saw it. 10-year-old article has been entered into the court record. Cool. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words. It is. Now, if you'll excuse me, it seems that... Oh, I thought I could investigate it. I thought it was going to be a 3D thing, and I'd be like, oh, yes, Odie Assman. I can clearly click here that it says, oh, Assman. All right. The public enjoys absurdity, monsieur. That is why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum. And it's a waxwork from that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it? That is correct. The professor you see before you here.
Most puzzling. But I'm not the one puzzled, so I don't give a shit. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. I'm not the one who has to fucking dissect this shit. You are. Fuck you.
This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe. And there has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Scythe and Drebber were in on this crime together. Bum bum. Alright, let's get this shit going. Special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor. Oh shit, no, that's not the right button. Okay, well. What do you mean? Is that true of every waxwork in your museum then? It is. Assuming the subject is dead, of course. Live subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know. What sort of letters? When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me. Komika. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, and I'm not gonna try it again. I don't know French. No! My museum is famous, monsieur. To be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status even. Because nothing says hardened criminal better than wax. And it is thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. I refer to the star of the special exhibit, of course, the professor. Whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse. There are no exceptions to the principles of test spells. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger. Do we know who the gravedigger is? Surely that's illegal, isn't it? It would seem the proprietress of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed. It had nothing to do with money. The man is part of London's criminal history. That is why I had to sculpt him, to record this history. It is the reason that the tray of the Dust Spells Museum, it is the reason that it's the big attraction, I guess. But if the man was convinced convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity. I assure you, behind the mask is hidden the true face of the professor. Do you realize what you're saying? The professor's identity is a national secret. I understand. And now that the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close. Of course it will, as you will your entire museum if you don't tread carefully, madam. That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you? So 10 years ago, the night of the professor's execution, you took a waxwork impression of his face from the corpse? Oui, exactement. I hid myself until he gave me a... Alright, I'm gonna save. Because I have an idea. I just don't know if it's a great idea.
Objection!
Damn it. Fuck, that would have been cool, though. That would have been so fucking cool. That would have been so fucking cool if I got that right. It doesn't count. That didn't count. I only did it because I thought it might be cool if it was right. And it wasn't right, so Alright, I hit myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night.
Hold it!
You were there longer than you expected to be? I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, mountain of the cadaver fell open. The mouth of the cadaver fell open, and I had some problems with the chin. Dare I ask? The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing, and consequently, his chin would not align itself correctly. Oh dear, what a horrible thought. Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night I was alone, and as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time. What do you mean? When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death. Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant? It's because of rigor mortis. Wrigley mortis? You're dumb. It's the name given to a phenomena that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And then, from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Well, that was an education. if a slightly scary one. As the Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw. I see. So that's why you wait. Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work. It's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. It's your fucking job to talk about corpses. Huh. I wonder about that information the court just served from us, but it's significant. The fuck? I don't know how, but it is. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, would you mind including that in your testimony, in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see. Of course, and I do not mind at all. I can't help feeling that after this latest topic, the atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave. This is no time for jokes, Miss Susato. Stop it, I say as I am the jokester.
Madam, kindly amend your testimony as discussed.
Bonsoir. I hope I said that right. Alright, it took me a very long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis. 10-year-old autopsy. Maybe this will help. Death confirmed at midnight. Nah, that doesn't really help. Came from around the neck of a waxwork of Mr. Drebber in a special exhibit. The lens extend. Not worth it. It's not gonna be the Drebber contract. I mean, it's definitely this. Autopsy report? ODS man, male, age 47, British, around 2:20 p.m. Hemorrhage, no, that's not gonna help us. There's nothing here that could help us, really. Fuck. Okay, a newspaper article recounting the tale of eyewitnesses of the later resurrection. Professor from his gate on the night of his execution. This says, okay, we're not, okay, everything that has to do with the teleporter, irrelevant now. Royal Society Trophy for Excellence in Science that was found in Mr. Drebber's workshop is a very prestigious award for young scientists. Well, this has his jaw on. Maybe that's what I have to...
Objection!
Nope, okay, I don't get it. The defense would like to, or would have to object to that statement, my lord.
No, you wouldn't. And I would have to overrule your objection, counsel, because this is bullshit.
The defense would have to accept the penalty given.
Glad to hear it. And you would also have to think again,
Took me a very long time. I mean, it's definitely this. Unless I'll just press it.
Hold it!
I mean, it took a long time. Rigor mortis being the phenomena you described, whereby the corpse becomes stiff after death. I think you said that it starts at the jaw about 3 hours post-death. Is that right? Oui, sit. Of course, the exact duration depends a little on the season. I didn't realize a waxwork artisan would be so well versed in the subject. No, that is only elementary knowledge in the field of legal medicine. Well, I had no idea about it, but maybe I won't admit to my ignorance about forensic science. Huh. Could ask my father to give you a very simple primer if you like. Think corpses should be your domain. I'm not good with them. Oh dear. I'll do my very best. Okay, well that's where I have to go, right? I'm gonna make sure that I'm not crazy, and I need to... Like, I need to press on... Or not press that. Present on this, right? Yeah. Okay. If they're dead!
Objection!
Fuck! What? Okay, I'm gonna save before I fucking fuck myself over again. Wait. Oh, maybe this is where I put the... Maybe this is where I put the camera. Why would the camera be there? Fuck it, I don't know.
Objection!
Yeah, okay. Didn't happen. No proof. Okay, let's go through everything. Armband, irrelevant, always. Constant, it's never not irrelevant. Containing various articles about the world-leading science and technology show.
Objection!
I'm just pressing things. I literally have no idea. You know what? I'll bite the bullet, or not bite the bullet, but I'll fucking just tell me.
Objection!
What? Wait. Before he tells me, hold on. Before you fucking tell me, I want to see what the fuck you're on. Rigor mortis. It's an autopsy report. Wait, hanging. Confirmed at midnight. What does this have to... Wait. Confirmed at midnight. Was she there at 3 a.m.? Fuck it. Madam Tuspel. I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. It confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows. And is that a problem? I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. What? Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend? Because I actually have no fucking clue. According to her testimony, Madame Tuspel was creating her wax... Oh. Fucking, I forgot the part about it being at dawn. Huh? God damn it. Okay. And at the time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis 2 or 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time. But on the other hand, if we look at Dr. Zeiks' report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. No! If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would already have set in. Yes, you are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
What? No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd. Well, in that case, there's only one possible conclusion then. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time. Impossible! It said impossible, not time. I didn't have an apostrophe. I'm stupid. Sorry.
Order! Order! Counsel, this is beyond folly. Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Zeiks, but you also implicate members of staff at Barclay Prison, where the execution took place. By heck?
Extraordinary! Not money! Objection! My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. What fact? Please enlighten me. The professor died that night without question. He did. Of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my objection. Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows? Didn't die at... Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, and that one other person of interest, Drebber. I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. I don't present the evidence at once. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Evidence that allegedly explains what happens if I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't know what the fuck. Okay, let's go through all of them. 10-year-old article. Came out of the grave. Driver contract ain't gonna do shit. That's not relevant to his autopsy. Death by hanging confirmed at The head isn't really gonna help us here. I don't really know what the head could tell us. Camera?
Take that!
What have we...
Didn't happen. That didn't happen. But I don't want the game to tell me every single answer. Articles.
Take that!
Oh, well. Yeah, because he came out of the grave. He didn't actually die. What happened that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now? Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again.
Objection!
Objection! Don't be a fool! That's simply a rumor published by the Gutter Press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? The point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened.
My word, yes indeed, it was Drebber!
My sweet. The young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night. Are you fucking kidding me? Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself, but obviously the man made it all up.
And in any case, it was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him.
You're so dumb. Objection. On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well. We've all met him. What? Do you just not read these things when you're given them? Because I'm better at this than you.
Are you suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen the utterly incredible events taking place?
Yes, my lord, I do. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very fucking eyes. Sorry, I need water.
You will substantiate your latest claim now then, counsel. Who is the alleged witness? Blah blah years ago. It's Drebber.
Take that!
Bitch.
The man in question is Mr. Enoch Drebber. Drebber?
The previous witness?
The special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tussauds Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. The condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern, stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is 10 years younger, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Fuck
You! Order! Order! Order!
Lurky lurk, hello. Hello, feel free to lurk. Why did my phone go off? Oh, I don't care. Let me put this on silent. Okay.
Surely not, Council.
Trevor was there? In Locate Cemetery. What is all this talk about Mr. Trevor? Is the name significant? Of course, Madame Tespel doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, madam. To your situation as well, in fact. What situation? The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago, you stupid bitch? Was perpetrated by the very same man. None! But that would mean... Madame Tuspel, it would appear you know the name Enoch Drebber. Oui, yes, I know it. But from long ago in the past. 11 years. What? Oh my!
Good gracious, what the fuck?
Explain yourself! Tell us everything you know! I'm really trying to voice act Van Zeiks today as like having a mental breakdown at every sentence because that feels accurate. Yes. Yes, of course. New testimony? Oh. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all of the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from in one newspaper. The Daily Circus. It is the paper from which comes the article I have already shown the court. You're saying that his full name was only published in that article?
Goodness me, yes, here it is! The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of science at the University of London and a resident of its student dorms.
Unbelievable! When I read the article, I went to meet with the man. His discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night would make a perfect exhibit for my horrors, whether it was the truth or not.
I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt the waxwork of the man, did you?
Exactament. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. I paid him £5 to model for the waxwork. And since that time, it has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery. So, that's... Why would he want to steal it? Apart from this crime? Interesting. So, 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he'd witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death re-emerging from the grave in the middle of the night. But the public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was soon forgotten. 10 years later, same man steals a waxwork model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork build is a poor match for the victim and its face is obscured by a mask. So the question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. If the birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Assman, but the same waxwork, the coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated Dr. Scythe would have noticed immediately. And yet, she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court has seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying? Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drebber. But that misconduct was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect. Which is precisely why Mr. Drebber used that particular waxwork as the body double. Yeah! He used it as blackmail. My lord, this court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Drebber are connected.
But according to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case?
She told us herself, didn't she? Let's flashback, like that didn't happen like an hour ago. Lord Van Zeiks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Lord Strongheart? The Pandora's box you were warned about is the professor's case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago. And surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Zeiks. Man's having a fucking existential crisis there. I had my thing muted again. The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. Damn.
But Lord Van Zeiks, the missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office.
Objection. The assigned prosecutor the assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, me. Yes. Fuck yeah. He's on our side, kind of. Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together. Damn.
Order, order, order! Very well, I will uphold your request. Bailiff, send a subpoena with immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe
Of the forensic investigation team. I thought it said and.
The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders.
All right then. Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe. If they weren't colluding with one another, this crime could never have been committed. Just a stone's throw away, I can feel it. The truth behind all of this is about to come out. Fuck yeah, baby. Fuck yeah. Oh, Tespel's still here. I thought she was gonna go away. Thank you for your attendance at such short notice, Dr. Scythe. I'm disappointed in you, Lord Van Zeiks. I gave her an accent accidentally. You've completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Betrayal is not in my nature. As long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, even if there's a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt. God damn! I think that between Nayuta and Van Zeiks, those are my favorite prosecutors. Fucking Van Zeiks has made his way up there. Mr. Drebber, you took the victim's life by means of a machine that you constructed in your workshop. And Dr. Scythe, as the investigation coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It is the belief of the defense that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime. And where's your evidence? At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue. What are you talking about? I'm talking, of course, about the waxwork. The model of the killer known as the Professor, who was sentenced to death 10 years ago. You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes and officially pronounced him dead. That remains to be seen. Is that so? According to newspaper reports from the time, on the night following his execution, the killer came back to life. Don't waste my time. And the sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? If what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality, it would make you privy to a very great secret of Dr. Scythe's. A secret so profound, it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme, in fact. Huh? Oh, wasn't gonna say. Oh? Nothing, you fucking loser. Mr. Drebber, tell the court. Tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night in Lowgate Cemetery. No. Oh, he's actually fucking silent. So he was the student who saw it?
You can see the resemblance, actually, can't you? With the man and Madame Tussiples, I mean.
Surely he's not going to claim that that's really what he saw, especially not after 10 years. He was a research student at the London University, wasn't he? And a bit too clever for his own good. I'm gonna read that one. Fuck you. I was reading the rest of them. I'll read that. And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. What an interesting twist. Huh? When at the time, not one person would take me seriously. Yet now here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my stories matter. And in a court of law, too. Very well then, if everyone so wishes. Let's be frank. I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night, for what it's worth. Ooh, she side-eyed him. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So, Mr. Drebber, your testimony, please, about the events of that night 10 years ago. You will tell the court exactly what you stumbled across in Lowgate Cemetery.
Yes, of course. As you wish. Okay. I mean, he seems very complacent. I don't know why he wouldn't be, to be honest, but... In the cemetery 10 years earlier. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery at all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. Yes, hold on. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article. Huh. Wait a minute. You're claiming you didn't actually see the professor now. What the fuck, man? Of course. you'd have to have a screw loose if you believed a corpse could come back from the dead. But, so, you're saying that this article is not worth the paper it's printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly, yes. If the details in the article aren't true, it nullifies your argument for why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe would have been working together. So he's discrediting himself to cripple my argument. Fucking bitch.
Tell me, witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery on some auxiliary business? Can you elaborate?
That's right. Grave robbing, to be precise. Oh, shit. As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So among students at the university, it had a reputation for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Grave robbing, you say?
Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried with the dead. So you were one of the so-called resurrectionists, particularly unpleasant scourge on society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name, the Repurposers.
That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir.
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus, eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. I see. Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article? Ah, yes. That was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched that right in front of me as I described the scene. Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regretted what I'd done, claiming to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish. Very foolish.
Ooh. Well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination now, I guess.
How once, my lord? Don't know what I'm gonna get from it other than one of those screens where it's like, oh, well, you didn't find anything, so, objection. In the cemetery 10 years earlier. We're just gonna press everything because I don't. Okay, I'm just gonna say this now. The thing that I immediately think of. So one of three things I think is gonna happen here. Either I'm going to present this with the trophy, right? Or he's going to, like, as I'm pressing him, he's going to get, like, one of those excuse me things from the other two, and then that'll be my way of going through with it. Or he's going to... What's it? It's gonna be one of those things where, like, I keep trying and it'll just eventually say, well, you haven't found anything, so here we go, and then just objection, and someone surprised goes like, hey, I got a thing. I'm actually gonna, let's do this first. Let's save. I wanna see if that first idea I had is the right one of presenting the...
Objection!
That would have been fucking hilarious if I got that right. If I got that right, try one, that would have been fucking hilarious. All right, let's go back to the start. Let's go back to the start and just press him.
Hold it!
Reason I hold it? What do you mean the reason? By moonlighting, you mean grave robbing, do you? Surely you only need to look at the graveyard scene and my appearance to gauge the answer to that. the lantern and the spade. But who on earth would want to buy a dead body? Any major hospital. A hospital? In order to better understand the human body, the study of anatomy is crucial to medical science. But there isn't a hospital in the world that has enough specimens to work with. Though, obviously, they can't openly express any interest in obtaining more by dubious means. As aspiring scientists, we young research students had no money to work with, as I'm sure you can imagine. So we made surreptitious arrangements with a hospital via some of our medical student acquaintances. We would never take anything of value from the graves. This was all for the furtherance of science, you see. That's what we all told ourselves every time we stole into the graveyard at night, spade in hand. You realize body snatching is a serious crime. If you were caught, you could expect the gravest of consequences. We students were caught between the hammer and the anvil. We needed funds for research. Professor Hairbrain said exactly the same.
I'm quite speechless at the apparent levity in which you've revealed this abhorrent behavior.
Well, if you want to know why I was there at Lowgate Cemetery, that's the reason. But I never expected it to end the way it did. That I regret to this day. Okay.
Hold it!
Strange happening at Lowgate Cemetery, which you now deny. Not entirely. I ran to fetch the police at the time, you know. I was shaking like a leaf. But they didn't believe a word of it. In fact, I was very nearly arrested myself. So you went to the papers instead? I started big with the London news, but unsurprisingly, they didn't want to know either. Makes sense. In the end, though, it was reporters from the gossip rags, the gutter press, that came to get my story. And it spread like the plague through the capital, as gossip-hungry Londoners lapped up the tale. Story was in every single paper at the time, with the exception of some broadsheets. And yet, only 2 or 3 of them actually interviewed me personally. Most of the accounts turned out to be very interpretive ghost stories. What about the article in the Daily Circus? That particular journalist found me at my dormitory. I don't know how, but he discovered my name. So, I recounted to him exactly what had happened that night. And from your description, he drew this illustration? Precisely. That's how I learned that the condemned man was the infamous professor. Because the reporter told me so. I had no idea myself, you see. Newspaper reporters are wont to snoop around in matters that don't concern them. So the scene portrayed in the illustration is accurate, then? Well, thinking back, I now realize I never actually saw the tomato. What are you talking about? I think I explained this already, didn't I? Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so it was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. For some absurd reason, I was scared of the graveyard at night, and as a result, only too willing to believe that nonsense about the dead coming back to life. But you said you actually saw it! I said what I'd seen in my mind's eye. After all, the resurrection is impossible, isn't it? You'd have to be unhinged to think otherwise. Unless, of course, you have some evidence that proves I encountered the professor that night? Don't know. Is there any material? Huh. If we have anything at all, Mr. Naruhodo, I know I need to present it. Against that irritatingly backstory. Hold on. See, he stole this. His camera! The point is, that night was a pivotal moment in my life. Afterwards, I visited the young one. Hold on.
I am going to save. I'm scared. I am a scared lad. I refuse.
Objection!
Damn. That worked. It would have been fucking cool. Okay. We're just gonna press.
Hold it!
That young woman being Madame Tuspel, of course. So at this point, we might get a discrepancy between them being like, he says something and she's like, no the fuck? What? Like, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking, is that we're most likely gonna get something from her at this point. Like, this is where we might hear something from her. Precisely. I must say, I didn't expect to run into her again like this 10 years later. As I have explained, I went by the name published in the article and... I'm not gonna try, I found the man. Yes, the article in the Daily Circus, I think you said. I was a poor student with barely a penny to my name at the time. And the young lady put £5 in front of me. So you readily consented to having waxwork of yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display. I did. I should sell what little I had to sell, I concluded. Ah, oui, I remember now. I purchased something else from you that day. N'est-ce pas? I don't know what that... I don't know if I got that right. Did you? I can't say I remember. What was it, madam? His camera. Oh. Oh. Oh, she has the camera. Oh, yes. I made a point of taking it with me whenever I made an excursion into any cemetery.
You took a camera with you, sir. To what end?
To record the details of the bodies I disinterred. But I had no intention of ever visiting a graveyard again after that night, so I sold it.
Oh, I see.
But I still have it, monsieur. It is part of the special exhibit in my House of Horrors. I'm very meticulous about such details. It is the Tuspel way. It would seem then that this is the very camera Mr. Drebber took with him to Logate Cemetery that night in question. Yes, interesting. When the lens is extended, dark staining can be seen in the bellows. Maybe, okay. Maybe now. Maybe now that we know that this was the actual camera, we can present it.
Objection!
Nope. Okay, cool. I was just in the wrong there. I was just in the wrong there. Got it. Okay, cool. So now we press option 5. Oh shit, motherfucker. What's Drebber up to? Why would he suddenly change his tune and recant his claim? I wonder if perhaps it's because his circumstances have changed now? What circumstances? Well, if he admits to having seen the professor emerging alive... Sorry, I had to yawn. Professor emerging alive from his grave 10 years ago, it will expose a secret in Dr. Zeiks' past that she would desperately want to hide. Yes, of course, I thought we established this. If Drebber and Dr. Zeiks are still working together now, then if Drebber were to betray her, there would be no reason for her to continue to cooperate. In that case, there's only one way around it. How to prove he really did see it. Prove they really did, of course. Yes, Mr. Naruto, exactly. Okay, well, we have to go back to...
Hold it!
Hold it! This article, you mean? Published in the Daily Circus? Yes, somebody informed the dean that it was my name that appeared in the article, and carelessly let slip that night after night. I was digging up graves. Hardly a model student, you might say. The university's reputation was extremely defiled, and I was expelled as a result. Mon Dieu, I had no idea. And having been run out of university, you found employment in a somewhat specialist trade. No denying that, I see. You combined your knowledge of science with knowledge of stage magic to create various experimental machines intended to demonstrate never-before-seen technology. And you used those deceptive machines to trick the government and private investors into giving you money. He's silent again, no denying. Professor Albert Hairbrain was just your last victim, wasn't he? Whatever are you talking about? I have no recollection of doing anything of the sort. She's silent again. Okay, skip through all this, 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 skip through all this. I'll have to prove he really did see it. Prove they really did see the professor's corpse coming back from the dead as he originally claimed. Okay, let me look at the everything. Didn't we establish there was nothing... Let me open the latch. I want to see inside. So what the photograph does, I think, isn't it? Yes, it's right. Isn't it incredible? I think this is actually... Certainly never imagined a piece of evidence would be on display at Madame Tussauds. Oh, this is new dialogue. I should have read that. Certainly never imagined a piece of evidence would be on display in Madame Tussauds. She's very keen on everything being as true to life as possible, though, isn't she? Fucking damn it. Can we extend this, please? What a wonderful machine. Oh, okay, well, this is not new. I just want to examine it. Open the thing up. This is where a photograph plate goes. I think, yes, that's right. Isn't it incredible to think this is the actual camera Mr. Drebber used that night? Certainly never imagined a piece of evidence. Okay, this is all just what I read. But there was no actual staining. Like, there was no... fucking nothing. That's annoying. Okay. You know what? Tell me which one I have to present. I thought this was it. Yep, okay. Never actually saw. That's... He did steal this.
Objection!
Fuck, man. Okay, all right. All right, run through all of it. Present. So, let's look through everything. It's not going to be that. We're trying to prove that he saw the professor. It's not going to be this. This would make no sense. Anything related to the actual crime, it's not going to, or like the crime that this is all about, or this all started from. Newspaper article regarding Mr. Deborah's dreadful encounter. Ass man. It's not really gonna do us anything there. Autopsy. This. I did try this, right? With the new update?
Objection!
I did. Okay, I actually did not remember if I did or not. I had to check. Okay. I realized I never actually saw the professor at all, though. It's not the camera, it's not the waxwork head. I don't know, Johnny. I'm thinking. Who committed? I don't know. I'm working on it. Because, okay, thinking back now, I realize I never actually saw the professor at all, though. This maybe death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. That wouldn't do any good, right? To prove that he saw it, because this was seen by Courtney Stevens. So no way that's true. 10-year-old article, this is like the only thing I can maybe think made him see it. And the ass man fucking... This has gotta be... Think back... You know what, Johnny? You're really mean. Fuck it.
Objection!
Okay. I guess I got it. Yippee! Sorry, Mr. Drebber, but I don't believe that. Don't believe what? Your latest claim? You did see the professor on that night 10 years ago. Nice gamble. Honestly, though, because I was like, okay, this is a drawing. Naruhodo, this is a drawing. It could entirely be bullshit. This could be not real. There's, like, this is a drawing. This isn't a picture. It's a fucking manga artist. God damn it. Like, all that is really... The only important part out of this whole thing, is fucking Odie ass man. Whatever. Huh? Oh dear. We seem to be at odds. But I was there, and you were not. I know what I didn't see. The illustration with this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist that you witnessed. After emerging from a tomb, wearing an iron mask. Yes, when the killer was tried 10 years ago, it was decided in the closed court's ruling that the man would wear the mask to hide his identity. It wasn't to be removed even during his execution and subsequent burial.
Not even the prison wardens were to see the man's face. But obviously, the provision of this mask was not public knowledge.
So, Mr. Drebber, as you've just heard... A lowly student. Oh! I get it, because how the fuck would he know there's a mask? The mask was never public knowledge. And yet he told them there was a mask. Okay, to be entirely fair though, I wasn't fully sure if this was meant to be the mask or if it was just meant to be like a skeleton. Because it kind of looked like, I don't know, the circles here to me more looked like shine of some kind. And it just had a more skeletal look to me. But okay, that's fair. That's on me. A lowly student of the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. Thought it was called by the grave. Yep, that's actually, Johnny, that's the, you know, like the hand that keeps pointing out at you whenever you use call by the grave? That's actually the professor coming out and saying that this card is going to hell. So unless you'd actually seen the professor that night, it's inconceivable that the artist would have included the mask in that illustration. Oh my goodness. Ah! No way.
Order! Well, Mr. Drebber?
I fucked myself. I fucked it up. Damn it. It's a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely. Order! And as I've already been at pains to point out, I was utterly petrified. Did what? Shut up. Which is why I had it in my head that I'd seen such a blood-curdling sight. But afterwards, I came to my senses and realized that I'd been mistaken. You're still saying you didn't see it? If you're stubbornly sticking to that story, witness, then amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you. Of course. Only happy to oblige. I can't believe he's still not going to concede the point. What the fuck? Alright, well at least I know what I have to go into. What I in fact witnessed was a fellow grave robber at work.
Hold it!
What? A fellow grave robber? What are you talking about, man? Well, I wasn't the only one busy in the cemetery that night, you know. Other body snatchers were at work. Of course, when I saw one emerging from the hole he dug, my heart very nearly stopped. So that's the terrifying sight I actually saw, you see. You're claiming it was just another student on equally insalubrious business as yourself. I don't know what that word means. Many of the medical students would wear metal masks to protect them from bacteria during disinfections. Clearly, that fellow was using such a mask to protect his anonymity, wouldn't you say? That's horseshit. But there's more to the story, isn't there? The article goes to say, in the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. That's fucking new. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath then stilled once more.
We might assume that the sexton discovered the miscreants at work, perhaps, and fired upon one of them.
If a gravedigger had shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord.
Ah, yes, well,
I can only assume it was an embellishment bolted on later by a reporter. Excuse me. Madam Tuspel, don't take it out on Mr. Sholmes, please. She's just... Oh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Drebber's last remark was significant to you in some way? Was significant, not significance, Finn, you English-speaking man? I thought it was a little strange, that is all. How Monsieur Drebber could claim this now. If you don't mind me saying, madam, what are you talking about? Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, you recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, non? Including the gunshot? Stop! Oh. You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Objection!
We're literally in a court of law. Have a care, Drebber. That's no way to speak to a lady. Please, Madam Tuspel. Carry on, please. Enlighten us. Of course. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him, and the bullet hit the condemned man. I said nothing of the sort. No, you were very explicit about the details. About the mask that the figure was wearing. And the blood that splattered over you when he was shot. Enough! Shut up, woman! You're making all this up! Ooh, he's getting angry.
That will do! Mr. Drebber.
Yes.
You refute the account just given by Madame Tuspel?
I have no recollection of ever saying those things. Come on! Do you really expect us to believe you?
Control yourself, counsel. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom.
Right.
Under the circumstances, I think it best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this, witness.
Very well. Well, I know what I have to fucking... There was no gunshot from behind me at all, nor any spattering blood. Do we have evidence to disprove that? I don't feel like we do. Did this have blood on it? I don't remember. No. Okay. And this doesn't have blood on it, does it? When extended? Oh, yeah, yep, there's blood. Yep, there it is, there it is. Right there, bitch. Right fucking there.
Objection!
Lies. Mr. Drebber, do you remember this camera? This little camera right here? But that is the camera from that fateful night. Yes, we borrowed it from the House of Horrors. It's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber. And is that supposed to be significant? This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine it closely. We noticed that the lens extends forwards on the end of some bellows. Like this.
Hold it!
Hold? Oh, I think that's the first time I've said hold it. Hold on. I've had a hold it line this whole time? Since fucking when? I don't think I've ever fucking used that. This is brand new for me. Holy shit. What's that? They're just on the bellows. It looks like a dark red stain. That's right. It's a rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact.
Good lord! Are you suggesting...
Yes, my lord. It would appear to be a spatter of blood. A little bit of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Scythe? It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood and not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it's blood at all is simple enough. I propose that Madame Tuspel's testimony was correct, and that on the night in question 10 years ago, you were spattered with blood from the gunshot wound. Well, And that furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from this from his tomb. Oops. There's simply no way you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience. In other words, the only explanation is that you're trying to hide the fact that you saw the professor that night. Objection! But why? Why would he want to do that? Well, not for his own gain, it would seem. For whose then? Who could benefit? Mr. Drebber is obviously lying in order to protect somebody.
My goodness! He's shielding someone?
And the telling gaze! I learned that from Sholmes, bitch! Your eyes seem to be diverted towards the woman in question! Yes, my lord. And clearly, it's someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed.
Well, Counsel, who is it then?
Surely you're not oh my god, are you kidding?
Who is this witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night?
Fucking Scythe. The obvious answer is Dr. Scythe.
Scythe? Whatever do you mean?
Imagine if the convict who'd been sentenced to death was not in fact killed. Imagine if that was to come to light. What are you insinuating? And imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor.
That would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection. This is beyond a joke. Need I point out that the dead cannot come back to life? What you're suggesting would mean that the execution never actually happened. Yeah, that's exactly what it would mean. Objection. Once a man is sent to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain. Objection. But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hanging.
If that were really true, Counsel, the implications of misconduct would not stop at supervising coroner. It would taint the honor of the entire judiciary from the ground up.
And it's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that Dr. Scythe would consent to any demand made of her by someone who threatened to expose the secret. Even if that meant being complicit in a crime.
You mean...
I mean that Dr. Scythe was collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced into collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Assman with the waxwork model and fabricated the autopsy report. Ugh! Suck a dick, bitch. Fucking leg, motherfucker! Lord Van Zeiks, your leg. Why? Pray, forgive my freshly filled hollow chalice and a whole raft of other discourtesies now.
Goodness me!
It's just the sort of tall tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. So let me ask you one thing. What's that? If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night, only to be shot in the chest, who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever? What does that matter? What does that fucking matter? What does that matter, dude? We're proving he didn't fucking die. You're not arguing that fact anymore, so what the fuck what does this have to do with anything? Why does it matter who shot him? Well, I have no idea at the moment. We have too little information to work that out at present, I think. I couldn't agree more. The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. What's the point? Who cares who shot him? He got shot. And have you considered this, my learned Nipponese friend? Considered what? Do you realize just what a dangerous endeavor it would be to coerce this woman into such criminal activity? It's tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary.
Quite. Hard to imagine any sum of money being offered for research could warrant it.
To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake would be madness. Well, I suppose. And this was no petty crime either. The victim was just murdered. A man who'd already invested money in the venture and would be instrumental in future profits, too. Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Assman at all. Or are you forgetting that his death results in me receiving not a single penny? The court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no?
There is the contract, that's very true.
Motive for the case runs deep, though. I can feel it. Using threats to force the head of forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme, especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place. If the research grant was the aim, taking Mr. Assman's life would have made no sense anyway, which means Mr. Dripper's motive wasn't money at all. He was just trying to kill Mr. Assman. Because he was the one who ruined his life. Oh my God. They've been saying this entire time. The reporter is the one who drew this. And Assman's name is on the fucking art piece as a signature. Oh my God. He wasn't trying to get money. He was trying to get revenge. Holy shit. But why? What was his motive then? I got it. I have it. Your time is up, my learned friend. I'd say you have one last chance before the jury lose their patience with this charade. Let's see if you can back up your Headley proposal, shall we? How do you explain why this engineer would throw all caution to the wind and threaten his own country?
At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, counsel, present your evidence.
All right. Who exactly was Mr. Assman to Drebber? There's a connection there that no one's seen yet. And I'm going to have to present 2 pieces of evidence to show what it is. Why 2? I mean, I know why 2, but why'd he say 2? Yes, my lord. The evidence that established explains...
Take that!
It's this newspaper article, my lord. That was written 10 years ago, and every detail has been examined already. What can it possibly tell us? That drivel should have never been written. It's typical gutter press nonsense that means nothing. Yeah, on its own, it isn't particularly significant. However, when considered along another piece of evidence, it will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Assman dead. What other evidence?
Counsel, you will present your supplementary evidence without delay. The evidence in which when cross-referenced with the newspaper article established a motive indeed. It's the contract. It's the contract.
It's this contract, my lord. Mr. Drebber, this is the contract you signed with Mr. Assman. Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact. That proves I had no reason to kill the man. No, I'm afraid not. What? There's something very significant about this newspaper article and the contract have in common. I misread it a little bit, but I'm fine.
Really?
And it's that common link that shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Assman. It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us have missed. So, my learned friend, point out what these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between this newspaper article and the contract? Yeah, it's right here.
Take that!
What these two pieces of evidence have in common is a signature.
A signature?
The signature of the illustration that accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature of the contract. Belong to the same person, bitch! What? As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago by the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about his ordeal. If you look closely, the reporter's signature can be seen in the bottom right corner of the drawing. And if you look at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Assman's signature at the bottom.
Let me see now. Good lord, yes, they're identical.
In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Odie Assman. he fell. Objection. But explain to the court why. Revenge, bitch. Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Assman? Well, if you think back, you'll remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony.
Grave robbing, you say?
Yes. Exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative.
That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir.
Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article. It was a revenge story, bitch. It was all for revenge. At the time, you were a student of the University of London who dreamt of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life. Sounds like motive to me.
So Mr. Assman used to be a newspaper journalist, did he?
He did, my lord. In fact, it's a widely held belief that Assman managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter. Gotcha, bitch. So, you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Eventually, you found working in the field of science. You found yourself working in the field of science, but only in the shadows. And all because of that article written by Mr. Assman. Enough! Oh. Breakdown? Break it down? Oh, well, that's not a breakdown. Stop this endless drivel about my life. What?
Explain yourself, Mr. Drebber.
Yes, it's true. I had to leave the university as a result of that article. But it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. What do you mean? Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research. But they struggled on with their hypothesis anyway. We all did, only to have them taken by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other after all.
Good gracious.
Making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was hardly a wrench. Being forced out of the university because of Lowgate was the best thing that could have happened to me. Full of shit. You're full of shit. Mr. Drebber, do you genuinely believe that? Of course I do. Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me? I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all. How dare you? And I have evidence to prove it. How are you in a position to say anything about me? I don't know you from Adam. Fine. If you think you have evidence, go ahead. Show it. What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave university because I lacked talent?
Take that!
Do you remember this, Mr. Drebber? We found it in your workshop. Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science?
What excellence? What exactly is this trophy, Council?
It's the greatest honor that can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. There is no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future.
Good gracious!
Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Drebber? Because even then, you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of this one newspaper article. Just one little bit. Just one little thingy. Oh. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Assman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it was abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man. Come on, bitch. Break down right now. Come on. Come on. The truth is... Finally, he's gonna fold. He's not gonna fold, is he? Hold it! Who the fuck? Who? No fucking way. No. Oh, what? Hold it! Fine. Clearly this has run its course now. What? I admit it. All of it. What? What are you doing? It's exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim, on the condition that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. No.
Good lord!
I think, nah, Batman. Dr. Scythe! I think this is the shadow of doubt, because I'm feeling it, and I want to pursue it. Do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, when I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart nearly stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself. It was the professor again, staring me in the face, and then before I had a chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan. From someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There was really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I know you just said everything that I was thinking was true, but I don't buy it. Why on earth would you buckle now? Well, there's no point trying to hide it anymore, is there? I would have done anything to stop it coming out, even collaborate in a murder. But the great lie about that execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished. So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted to everything. Surely it goes without saying. You admit your part in it too, then? I admit nothing! At all! What? Have you forgotten that the kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Short of me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. No! Damn. Huh.
Order! Order! Order!
Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secret, so I went along with his plan. And Lord Van Zeiks... Yes? I hope you'll accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course. There's something here.
I have heard more than enough. I hereby present the final findings of this court. This trial is not the proper forum in which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drebber. The defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain.
Very true. It had slipped my mind. Isn't he one of your closest friends?
As the court has heard, Dr. Scythe has admitted to the allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt.
You mean...
At the present time, it is the conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing. Does the prosecution have any objections?
Nope. I'm over this. None, my lord. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo! You've proven Professor Harebrain innocent!
Without further ado, then, the adjudication. Unless the prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss.
I feel like we do. I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. Why did Dr. Scythe suddenly admit to it like that? Is everything alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Like you said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict of not guilty. But is that really what we want? What the defense should be pushing now is further testimony.
Objection!
Yep. The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. Damn.
I beg your pardon?
We demand one final testimony.
What? The fuck is wrong with you, dude? You do realize I'm about to I'm about to say he's good. Adjudicate in favor of your client, I promise. I presume whatever it said, I don't know.
What are you playing at now, my Nipponese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. Mr. Naruhodo, what exactly are you thinking? The truth, the whole truth, and a way to bring it all out into the open. Right! What? No, I'm still lost. Yes, in hindsight. Chomes, there it is, yep. The shadow of doubt. Ah, yes, one word of warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end you understand, do not falter whatever may come to pass. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes knew. He must have deduced that this would happen. Yes, I'm here in court to advocate for my client and to secure an acquittal. Obviously. But that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to the court to pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail is laid bare. And that is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Scythe. Testimony from me? About what? About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Enoch Drebber. In case it's escaped your attention, I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. So stop wasting everyone's time. As his lordship made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted from him. There's simply no point protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination. Objection! I'm no longer an alcoholic. Pray, forgive my careless handling of the hollowed bottle. I slipped. That's what you call it?
What is your objection, Lord Van Zeiks?
The prosecution also calls for supplementary testimony from the witness. Don't be stupid! If there is more to this case than has yet to come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until the bitter end. You're what? Lord Van Zeiks.
This is most irregular, to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Scythe, you will testify for the court. Explain the full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Mr. Drebber.
Very well. All right. Still going strong. Remember how at the start of the stream I said it's going to be a short one? Now we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes in. That was a fucking lie from me. Your Honor, guilty of fucking lying. Yeah. I'm a liar, I'll admit it, Your Honor. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside its jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. But did you got it? So I was right. The stage at the machine were all specially designed for the deception. So it seems, and all meticulously prepared. You did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. And what about this autopsy report then? All I did was record the location of the body as being in the Crystal Tower instead of under the stage. That's all? That's a terrible corruption! Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instructions. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you.
Must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for cross-examination, I would say.
No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at the expression on Dr. Scythe's face. It's creepy. It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony. What is it about you Japanese that make you all so doggedly persistent?
Very well. If you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. I'm curious. Now if I fuck up, does it just say not guilty? I'm curious. The waxwork pot. Okay, or yeah, whatever. It all began at the scene when I'm just gonna keep going because I feel like we're gonna get really close to the end here, and I'd rather not like end it now and be like next time it's like, oh well, this is actually the last fucking cross-examination or whatever of the trial. So
Hold it!
from what you described before, it sounds like the note was anonymous. Did you have any idea who was behind it? There are a few people in the know about what really happened 10 years ago to start with. But anyway, I'd never heard of this engineer. So no, I had no idea. Yet, despite not knowing who was behind the plan, you went along with it. I had no choice. Protecting the professor's secret was my only concern. But the horse has bolted now, and the stable door will never shut again. Scotland Yard's reputation will be immeasurably damaged as a result of all this. Yes, thank you, Lord Van Zeiks. I'm well aware of that.
So, as I understand it, what you found in the birdcage was the waxwork model. Where then was the victim's body?
Bam, 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 bam. The actual body of the victim indicated in the note's instructions was beneath the experimentation stage. That's bullshit. So you knew about the special construction of the stage used to carry out the trick then? It was quite obvious what had happened with the victim after... It was quite obvious what had happened with the victim in the waxwork. And you switched the two over, didn't you? In other words, you recorded the victim's body as having been discovered in the Crystal Tower in the waxwork. I wrapped it up and sent it by carriage to the specified address at the specified time. And why were you given such directions? Presumably so it could be recovered by Drebber and returned to Madame Tuspel's. I see. And then you put the birdcage back on the experimentation stage. Yes, although someone obviously made a mistake about which cage should go where. I thought I'd made it perfectly clear to the team, but still. I suppose you were focused on the victim's body, that being more important detail. Body had to be arranged in ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job.
Hold it!
Press. When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this? Yes, The instructions in the engineer's notes said something along the lines of, fabricate some evidence to make it clear that Hairbrain alone could have killed Assman. So, you mean that was your doing? I fetched Hairbrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage and took it with me alone to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen.
Alone, Doctor?
Oh? I didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in that particular part of the deception. Oh? There was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then, I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. Damn. And then you notice that in your fake autopsy report, as a fictitious cause of death. Exactly. So, the actual case of death was... the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop.
My word.
What is it, Mrs. Otto? Something about Dr. Scythe's last statement. It's playing on my mind, that's all. Yeah, mine too. Dr. Scythe! There's really no need to shout, I can hear you perfectly well. The defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony. Oh? Which part? What I want to hear Before I say it, let me look at the history. Slowly open, took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. Let me go to court record. It is in his chest. Yes, man. Birth. Hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart. No, I'm just gonna let the game tell me this. I'm fine with the game. I'm fine with cheating a little bit. Okay, what you did to the victim. How you stabbed Mr. Assman in the chest. That part. Fine, if that's what you want. But there's really no need to point. He points. The prosecution concurs. You did that to spite me.
Very well. You will supplement your testimony now, witness.
If you wish, my lord. Okay. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the toppled cage and plunged the screwdriver. I assume I present on this? Yeah. Don't know what, though. How did you get in, I guess? But... oh, well, I'm gonna save. I'm afraid. I'm a scaredy little boy. Save that. Present. Would appear on the professor wax. I don't know, bro. Crossbow found in Oh, he already died.
Objection.
He would have already... That couldn't be right? I've got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth.
What on earth is the matter, Counsel? Have you lost your tongue?
I apologize, my lord. Dr. Scythe, in the last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events that led to his death.
Objection.
The court has already examined the photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it. Fuck you. Yes, we have already considered if it's true, but we now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? Oh, my neck is feeling really stiff.
I believe we should let the defense explain. Where in the photograph would we see an inconsistency with the statement?
Blood? Fuck, I want to save. I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm gonna fuck it up. There,
Take that.
right there, the blood. Look closely at the blood stain on the victim's chest. Okay, thank fuck. It clearly extends in a downwards direction, towards the man's feet.
And why is that significant, Counsel?
Oh. If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected.
Ah, of course! No, that's not what happened.
Exactly, my lord. Dr. Scythe made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after he'd already fallen. Was after the grand deception was set in motion when the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side after the 30-foot drop. And the victim had already been stabbed whilst inside the birdcage in that position. The blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to have formed the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Assman, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Scythe, your latest testimony was a total fabrication. Yeah! I don't know why I went so high-pitched there, but, you know, we roll. Oh, shit. I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified that contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Scythe? You claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left into the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie. Because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer. If that is the case, what is it, man?
Counsel, you clearly struck upon a revelation. Now,
Now tell the fucking court what it is, for the love of God. Part of Dr. Zeiks' story is shown to be a lie. The stabbing of the victim. The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If, when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would. Which tells us that the victim must have been in a position of his own accord.
Objection!
Okay, well, that's impossible! The man was dead, remember? No, that is the misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. Then he got up. But Mr. Assman didn't die in the fall. That's what I'm thinking too, yeah. He survived. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came around, he got to his feet and to climb out of the cage. That's when you were there, just as Dr. Zeiks appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at the point in time, it changes everything. Mr. Odie Assman's killer wasn't the defendant Professor Albert Harebrain, nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe! Damn.
Order! Can this possibly be true?
Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, wasn't it? You killed him. You hoped that by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up! You're so desperate now, you're making all this up! As if I would do something like that! Objection! Oh shit, that was me! That's new. I assure you the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Ms. Naruhodo has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Logic! Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? Elaborate, you stupid bitch. I'd have thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. He didn't die. Dude said you have to help me with this murder. If dude's not murdered, you're in trouble. Easy. Done. What the fuck? You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Assman? Mr. Assman was involved in any number of criminal activities. From coercion to theft to murder. Oh, also that, yeah. But there is no known connection to Dr. Scythe there.
I'm rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched.
True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. In the back of me brain. I feel sure I've seen something that hints at why the coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted. Oh shit, that's not an L, that's a T. Oops. And concocted a fake report. But murdering someone for no reason is a very different story. Objection! No. When you questioned what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Assman, something did come to mind. What?
What is it, counsel? Enlighten the court at once.
Yes. We saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seems strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. I don't know. I'm lost. I actually don't know. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asma. When did we see scalpels? When the fuck did we see scalpels? Wait. They spent so much on them, but... Fuck it, I'm gonna click it, but I don't really know what it was. I remember there was a thing about scalpels, but I don't think it has anything to do with it. It's a scalpel, or rather, scalpels.
Did you say scalpels?
That was right? It would appear that word has struck a chord, Doctor. You... Come on, out with it! It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. The thing about spending so much money on scalpels. Look at this big, thick book here. It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a reason of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. See, I don't get why. I still don't get why.
500 scalpels a month?
At first, I wondered what on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now, it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Asman's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Oh. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. 10 years ago, when Mr. Assman was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may well have stumbled upon information and he was reaching the story, or researching the story. Information relating to Dr. Scythe's darkest secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade.
Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean?
I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Assman in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever! Oh? You'll never understand. None of you! Oh? What we've had to keep covered up all these long years. Is that it? No, give me a big explosion, bitch. Ain't no way that was your breakdown. Ain't no way that was your breakdown. No, come on, it was gonna be a big moment. As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done and tell the court the truth about what happened. Unless we're waiting for your big breakdown. 10 years ago, you told the truth. And you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, This is surely the chance you've been waiting for. To sever the hold that fate's had on you all these years. Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really. It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypothesis, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick! I can't abide their foolishness!
Careful, Mr. Drebber.
I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. Made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim. Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Thank fuck. Revenge for the future that Mr. Assman's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Assman, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required that you abduct the particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard, as well... Oh shit, I fucked that up, whatever. Or on Dr. Scythe, to be precise. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Assman turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. Of the coroner who'd handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of a new forensic team. When I learned that news, my cognitive process started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale. He robbed me of my future, so I want to use the man's own wiles against him for revenge. And have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I want them all to suffer the same humiliation I'd had to suffer. Damn. Damn. Your actions against those who'd ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Damn. Wow. Jeez.
Lord Van Zeiks, what of Dr. Seif?
An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber.
Most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for future occasion. For now, Professor Hairbrain... I was really happy I wasn't doing your voice for 2 hours.
Yes?
It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt.
This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. This dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool. Professor. I've spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to do, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I. No, Professor, that's not true. What? Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. Lord Van Zeiks. And the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams. It's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices. Oh. Thank you, Barrick. God, it's being so wholesome and sweet.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yes, my lord, I forgot his voice. Fuck it, this is his voice. I don't care anymore. It is... Fuck, and I swap voices. It is this court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. Presume there are no objections? Done for me, my lord.
Certainly not. This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision.
It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever.
What's that? He's done, is he? He's all over?
I don't know what's become of the yard these days. Don't recognize the place.
Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant not guilty! Fireworks, bitch!
Woo! And the audio cut out a little bit, but it's fine. Woo! Fireworks, yay! Yippee!
Oh, thank God.
Court is adjourned. Get me the fuck out of here.
Well, we did the thing! It's over. That was some trial. I assume we're gonna have our little talk in the bit. Yeah, okay. 24th of October, 4:33 p.m. The Old Bailey's defendant's antechamber. Professor, what a splendid outcome, isn't it? Oh, it is, it is! Congratulations, Professor Hairbrain. Oh, he's depressed. Mr. Naruhodo. Miss Susato, I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough? I'm just glad it's all been cleared up. That you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation. Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money, I'd give the whole lot to you, every penny. Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so we don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal is more than enough. Oh dear. Oh, what can I do? Aha! How about this as a memento? The paper about my hypothesis is inside. Well, just as a memento then. Thank you. I've been wondering, Professor, what are you gonna do now? Oh my, yes. What am I going to do? My hypothesis and my great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. Must explore the Great Exhibition whilst I'm here too, and see if new inspiration hits me. Oh yes, that's a wonderful idea. I can't allow that, I'm assuming. I can't, that was a very unexpected thing. I can't allow that. Lord Van Zeiks, what are you doing in here? Barrack, what the fuck? I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert. Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarling down on your prey. You're one of the few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution. Or the defense. Sorry? Or the defense? Did I just hear that right? Did he compliment me? I always knew that you had my best interests at heart, don't worry. How about you show me around while I'm here in town? It's all been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you. What? From there, you'll cross the channel, make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets. But no! Hold on a minute, Barrack. What about the Great Exhibition? This is the chance of a lifetime for me. I want to... No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea. Sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barrack. Lord Van Zeiks. What's all this about? He doesn't want him to die. A necessary precaution. Yes, I think I understand. You do? Doesn't want his friend to die. Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord Van Zeiks at his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsume was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time and thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well, even though it's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as the prosecutor. Oh, you mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? Those in the Reaper's sights meet their end days, or sometimes months, after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up to now. But, of course, we know that both Mr. Natsume and Gina were completely innocent. True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend.
Barrick?
Like the mustached Nipponese, this man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once.
Right.
Does your friend-shaped package get any say in it?
Goodness! Was this your intention all along then, Lord Van Zeiks?
In court, where people think of him as a Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless, and yet, sometimes I feel as though I don't understand him at all. Just wanted to help his friend. It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being.
Ah, yes, all right. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you so much for everything.
Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. No, it wasn't. Don't lie to him.
Best wishes, Professor Hairbrain. Well, once the dust is settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now.
Aw. I'm almost sad to see him go. Almost. Now, my Nipponese friend.
Oh, yes?
I thought you'd gone too. We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time? If we bring up fucking Kazuma, I'm gonna fucking scream. You want to talk with me? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Oh, what the fuck? We're going in the courtroom? We can't just have a normal conversation with your normal spray? Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. Okay. The enigma, Barrick Van Zeiks. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Here goes, then. Actually, I'm very intrigued on what they're going to talk about.
24th of October, 8:58 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom.
And you have the dude with you. So, are you satisfied? You saved a guileless scientist from a great injustice.
Yes, I think so. I'm relieved at least that the man's innocence could be proven.
Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese comes from. Yeah, but I kind of gathered that. Kind of gathered where that comes from. Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me. I imagined you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. But now, I think differently. You clearly know our ways. So I wouldn't guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please? The professor. Yeah, I knew. He's fucking Japanese. He's fucking It's your dad. Wait, no, he was shot. Never mind, it's not your dad. Shit. It's not your dad? That's annoying. The professor. I thought I'd never hear the name that name in this courtroom again, to be honest.
He took your brother's life.
Clint. My brother was Clint Van Zeiks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programmers between Britain and other nations then, too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programmees, is it programmees or is it just program? Whatever. 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan.
Oh! If it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father.
Of course. I remember Dr. Mikotoba well.
I had no idea.
I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to the 3 visiting Nipponese.
So, you've actually met my father?
He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. I had to see if I said adept right. I think I did. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made a very great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even. Just an ever-growling list of victims. Oh my god, Jesus, ever-growing. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zeiks. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway. So he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me personally, though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. When I finally found out the killer's identity, the reason why no one had been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He's been hiding in plain sight all the time. In plain sight? Are you aware of political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions. Which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our 2 nations could very well have ended up at war.
What? A war? Between Britain and Japan? But that would mean... Oh my! You mean to say the professor was...
Do we have the key? Oh shit.
When the trial reached its conclusion
fuck.
earlier, I thought to myself, yes, it's time.
Holy shit.
Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster.
Holy shit.
I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum. So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
No way. I want to know who this is so bad. Is he? Who is it? Wait, I don't know who the fuck that is.
That's the professor?
Yes, it's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind.
Is it
Yet
Dad?
the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before,
Holy shit.
was Japanese.
Oh. I thought, oh. Was that it? Is it just that it's a dude in Japan? Or is that... I thought that was the...
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
Bro? Broski? You good? No way. Oh my god! Fuck my life! Ah!
Father.
Oh, what? What?
What?
Kazuma's...
Father?
What? It was Kazuma's... I'm gonna put it on story mode. Kazuma's dad?
Kazuma!
Yep. Of course. Of course. Of fucking course, man!
Kazuma's
Your boyfriend, don't lie!
after a whole year. Finally, his memories returned.
God. I just...
As he stood there before me.
Man.
Ryunosuke.
He remembers me! My boyfriend!
Hello again,
Oh, wait, this is so sweet.
my friend.
My love.
Kazuma-sama!
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba.
You... Oh. Holy shit.
It's been a very long road. Thank you.
Wait, why was he pronounced dead then?
Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
What the fuck, man?
I knew you wouldn't die that easily.
No,
Kazuma.
he should have.
I owe you thanks, too, for taking good care of that in my absence.
Oh. Karuma. Great blade of the Asogi clan. Passed down through the generations.
It was given to you. Or you took it, kind of.
When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. A Japanese man's katana is his soul, and he couldn't be parted from it.
Right.
But then, when the
He was
incident
parted from
happened,
it.
It was Susato-san's wish that I inherit the sword, and I've kept it with me ever since, along with my memories of the friendship we shared. With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
God. Take your sword back, bitch. It's yours, you lovable asshole. Fuck the rapier you had. This is cooler. Get your headband back.
I've made it. At last.
Father. Are you saying... Surely not. You mean, you knew all this time? I'm looking at it. But... I still can't believe it.
This is wild.
Mass murderer. He's Kazuma's father.
Kill him. Cut the head. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yes, that was satisfying.
Kazuma-sama.
Fuck him. Fuck.
Ryunosuke,
Fuck that dad.
we have much to talk about.
We
but
absolutely
now is
do.
not the time.
Fuck you.
I'll be seeing you.
You fucking better. There's no way you just... There's no way you would, like, just go, like...
That's all Kazuma said. Before he turned and left us there, in the courtroom.
Where did Van Zeiks go? Oh, right there. So he's the living after image of the man who took my brother's life, is he?
Yes, Kazuma Asogi, my boyfriend. I'm not saying best friend. I will die on this hill!
3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us, I've had an inkling there was something there. Some connection.
But why did Lord Strongheart do that? Why did he make Kazuma Lord Van Zeiks' apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia, too.
The man was apprehended, even executed, but his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you for meeting with me, as I asked. Goodbye. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck, dude? What the fuck, dude?
10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I'd ever seen him. Poor Susato-san. All this is tied up with painful memories for her, too. She's never talked about this with me before, though. It took some time to adjust having It took time to adjust having father around. But just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London. And that the friend had left behind a son, a boy, 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father. So he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. As I'm sure you've worked out, that young man's name was Kazuma Asogi. So you see, that's how he and I met. Jesus, man.
For a brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time.
Homosexuality.
As if great wheels had been set in motion. I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter, but in many, it was the start of a new one.
Damn. Damn. That's wild. All right. That's the end of chapter 3. Fucking hell, man. Twisted Karma and His Last Bow. I don't like that it's called His Last Bow. But Jesus, man. Fuck, that was huge. I mean, I knew he was alive, but the way they did it still made it feel impactful, even though I knew. God, that was wild. And I was live for 3 hours. I said this was going to be a short one. I fucking lied. God. Yeah. All right. We're going to end stream. Holy shit. Thank you everyone who came by. I'm probably not going to stream Sunday just because this was longer than I expected. Plus, it gives me more time to figure out everything in this room so that I can, again, better enhance the streaming thing. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.